Alright, let's go get some coffee together. Alright, guys. I normally never do this stuff, but here we go. So this episode is brought to you by Plot Parts, my new email that I'm beginning. Newsletter is something that I've always wanted to do, and today is the day of the launch. Right. So first of all, let me tell you why this all made sense to me to talk about money for episode number 33, because I recently got an SD card for my GoPro so I can record longer videos, but it actually ended up creating corrupt files that I can't really process, and I got frustrated and couldn't really take the thing I wanted to do. What do you have? Let's do a little trusty steed. We're gonna go get some coffee and wonderful Sunday drive. Right, so the SD card doesn't work, right? And I don't know what to do. I go do all these coding stuff to recover some files. And I realized everything that we do, this camera, this bicycle needs repairs. This camera needs a repair. I'm gonna go get some coffee now. That's $1. Everything that we do is money. Money is oxygen, almost. Money is the way you can breathe in the economy that we've created for ourselves. If you don't have money, you can't afford this or that car or anything around you. So money is a necessary component to anyone's life. Alright, since we've established that, let's go take a little turny turn. A little magic brewy brew. Oh, that's delightful. We got our morning coffee. So, as I was saying, everything in life requires money to operate. Rich people will tell you that money doesn't buy happiness, but it does make a lot of problems go away. And if you think about how you spend money, it's generally to solve problems. Like, I had a caffeine problem and I solved it with coffee. I had problems with this camera. I solved it with an SD card for storage. Didn't really end up solving the issue, but this is what I'm saying. You're motivated to spend money on things that will increase, solve problems or increase ease in your life. Okay? I'm putting you back there on the mountain. Hi. This is the studio. This is the podcast. This is what's behind the scenes. Hi. Episode number 33. Your host Fatih here. Hope you're having a wonderful Sunday. Let's get into it. Right. Today is a special day because we get to talk about money. Money, it's a hit. All right. Have you been paying attention to news recently? I have, and it all sounds like a stage. It's like a theater. It's puppets. And they are carrying out some sort of play that we're watching, and none of it really matters. The only thing that matters is your own world, your own play, your own circumstances, and whatever's around you. But unfortunately, these puppets kind of create the environments that we kind of put ourselves in, right? And money is the underlying reality of everything. And we're going to be talking about this. So if you're asking me, oh, what are your credentials? Are you rich? Do you have a lot of money? What makes you the voice of authority for any of this? It doesn't. I don't have a lot of money. I haven't accumulated a lot of wealth. I am just a very keen observer of reality. And I have worked in industries like crypto. I've worked in social media marketing. I worked in email marketing. I worked in language teaching, coffee selling. So I've been in different parts of the economy on the employee end. I haven't ran teams. I haven't owned businesses. But I've seen enough to make this video for you. Okay, so without further ado, let's get into it. So the first thing I want to talk about is the bullshit jobs. So David Graeber, I'm not sure if I'm saying his name right, but he coined this, not coined it, he argues that 70% of the jobs in the workforce are useless and unnecessary. So that would be a huge part of the pie, with only 30% of things that are useful. So the rest of this is to, for the lack of a better term, just justify inflation. Because in economies where your hard work or your 100,000 units of whatever currency should be, or like your gold stacks, it's a stupid little gold piece, let's make it, these are little silver coins, right? So these would, in normal stable economies, the value of these would increase over time, right? Your hard work, your units of things. But what we see is a rapid devaluation of anything, really. Because if, let's say we're running a restaurant, right? Let's say we're running a pizza business. All right, let's make a little bit of toppings over here. We got some pepperoni, whatever. Okay, so this is our pizza business, right? And if I want to buy flour today, like a box of flour, let's make a little box of flour. So this is flour. In August 24, this is priced at 5 currency units. I'm not gonna give any currency names just for the sake of simplicity, but let's say this costs 5 units. In a lot of places in the world, such as Venezuela, Argentina, Turkey, the value of the currency will devalue over time. So when we hit January 25, the same block or the same flour is going to be worth 7.50. What changed? Did the flour get more quality? Did it grow in size? No. It's just that my money lost value. So what used to be 5 is now 7.50 because of the rapid decline of your currency, wherever you are. And the issue with this kind of devaluing sort of economy is that it creates a lot of hard times for people, because the jobs that are created are only to justify inflation. So if you think about it, any job that you've done, I mentioned I worked in crypto and social media management and email marketing. So these three, all of them, anything outside of teaching, which is very fulfilling, is just to make others rich. When I was working at a crypto company, we were creating money out of thin air, basically, because you would buy, cheap in the Japanese market, and then go, like, when it's like super low, whatever, you buy it from here, and then you go to an American market, and then you sell it up here. So the difference between here and here is profit, and you get to collect this. A better way, which my company was doing, is to actually not buy and sell, but create a tool for people to buy and sell. So what we did, it was to create markets in which people can call their friends so they can spend money, and the people who own the market would make profit off of these little microtransactions. And that's another thing about GDP. GDP is not necessarily indication of having everything that you ever wanted. It's just a lot of economical transactions. That's what it is. So you're Switzerland and you're Ireland in Europe or other countries that have a high GDP. That doesn't necessarily mean that they figured it out. It only means that they have a lot of transactions. And in crypto, there's a shit ton of transactions right before your eyes. Even if you're a simple little client success manager, or you see millions of dollars being transacted, being bought and sold right before your eyes, and it's crazy. So GDP isn't necessarily an indicator of success. And also, a lot of people will say, oh, okay, like we can fix this whole mess that we created with universal basic income. I'll tell you why it doesn't work. Because it is probably going to help people create more bullshit jobs. UBI is probably going to inflate the currency even more. And it's throwing more gas into the fire, basically. So how do we solve the problem of worthless money that we've created? To give more money to people? No! That's like the horrible patch job. We want to shift from worthless currency to hard stuff like gold and silver, freaking Bitcoin, which is limited. It's a scarce thing, right? It's not like an endless supply. With currency, you can have endless currency, but it doesn't mean anything because it doesn't have any backing. They've abandoned the backing with gold in the 80s or whatever. So it's impossible for us to solve the money problem with UBI. It is probably going to just create more inflation. Basically, what Graeber is talking about here is, number one, many people perform tasks that are pointless. Number two, it seems like jobs are created just to keep us busy. Number three, this leads to deep moral and spiritual damage. And number four, how can we talk about the dignity of labor when we feel our jobs shouldn't exist? He found that many workers, especially in white-collar jobs, confess that they do nothing of importance. So all their jobs are just created to make this merry-go-round and round and round. He also debunked the myth that private sector is more efficient. Even in private companies, many jobs are pointless, often connected to bloated bureaucratic processes. And let's not forget, during the 2020 lockdown, the world kept turning even with the majority of the workforce sitting idle. So historically, work was task-based. So you finish the job, which is, there's a big field that needs to be, tended with horses. Fatih, stupid little horse. So you take the horse, here's you do the field, and then you get the money in return. Let's just say money or currency. So tasks were the way that we got the money in the past. Not to fill time. But today, there's this idea called 9 to 5, right? So it's not task-based, it's time-based money. So you make your money depending on how much time you allocate to a certain task. And this just creates a big problem. the concept of employment became less about the tasks and getting shit done and more about controlling people's time, right? So in light of all of this information, I would say that our entire economy is a Ponzi scheme. It's a facade. Most jobs, like we mentioned, are meaningless. And what does that mean for the future? I don't know. But let's start asking more questions. So the second part of this video, we're going to be talking about money in an energy perspective. Woo woo. Okay. Fatih's getting a little crazy here. Okay. So, welcome to Heads and Tails once more. This is episode number 33, and you're with your lovely host Fatih, who's taken the responsibility of talking about the stuff. So, this video is actually intended for those who seek to attain material wealth and not for those who dismiss its value and say it's like, oh no, money and spirituality, or being wholesome, being religious and kind, and they're not related at all. I'm making this video to invite you to think about it in a very different way. This message that I will give you will stress that being rich is not only compatible with spirituality, but is also very crucial for spiritual activation. It will urge you to acknowledge the significance of money. I mean, subconsciously, I made my friend Atakan made my logo as money. I told him to do that, but subconsciously, it's money. Cash rules everything around us. Really, it's like the underlying reality. So, this is for me as much as it is for anyone else who's watching. I'm just hoping that through recording this, voicing this, drawing things, the things that I talk about will permeate into my mental as much as it will permeate into yours. So let's just accept that we live in a society that money matters, right? So let's just skip the games of pretending like it doesn't. It's ridiculous to me when I hear spiritual people being like, "Ooh, I don't care about money." I know they're lying, because you have to care about money. What are you talking about? This microphone that is recording my voice and then putting it through the computer and processing it and making it into a video and then uploading it onto the YouTubes, and you finding it through your feed or whatever, or your friend shared it and then you're listening to it. This is all like the underlying reality of everything requires money. This camera, this pen, this book, this notebook, this computer, everything is just money. So let's just skip all the deceit and lies, especially when you know that this, like spirituality and religious and kindness is directly linked with money. A lot of people will say otherwise, but I'm here to prove it. So let's shake up the way you think about spirituality and wealth. We're talking about some high frequencies and some low frequencies, okay? So the most high frequency, like let's say the God mind, is, have you really tried to conceptualize what this high frequency is? It's not just some abstract idea. It's a little bit more of a frequency. It's not an idea. Think about it as an emotion. It's like love, right? You can tap into love in any given moment if you're willing, right? If you have someone that you love in front of you, or if you don't have someone, if you have yourself, or if you have a passion or something that needs to get done, you can either choose to do it with love or with hate or with fear. Those are the two main options, really, love and fear. So I'm just inviting you to take this abstract idea with drawings and stuff, and think about it in a more physical sense that applies to your life. So you see, in society, especially from an economical standpoint, we're stuck in what's called the survival paradigm.
So this is how most of us were raised, constantly worrying about bills. Am I able to afford this? Am I going to buy new clothes? Or like our parents were worried if they were going to be able to feed us or not. If you're watching this video, chances are you were one of these people. So what you can see over here is this frequency, which is very low, is opposite to the God mind, which is the highest frequency. So how can you sustain a high vibration when you're thinking about things that are struggling? When you're constantly struggling financially, how can you tap into the God mind when your thoughts are paralyzed by financial stress? You can't. This is the reason why I'm making the video. I want to reconstruct the entire view of money. We're going to break down the metaphysics of money so you can shift the way you see money, free yourself from the financial struggles, and finally tap into the birthright, which is abundance and God mind and all the good stuff. So let's just be real. If the Creator is infinite and abundant, and you hear the birds chirping, and there's endless amounts of leaves and trees, there's so many beautiful things everywhere in the world. There's so much sand in the sea and shores. Is there a shortage of sea water on Earth? No. Is there a shortage of leaves on the trees? No. It's just your mind that is programming you to keep yourself in a very scarce, oh, it's not enough, oh, I'm so tired kind of mindset, right? So if we're aligned with the Creator, the source, then we shouldn't have any issues with resources or having something enough or not enough. So there's no reason why there should be a shortage of funds or material wealth in your life, if we're thinking about it in terms of nature as the source and the Creator, the God mind, having an abundance of resources to create everything that we know. So for this, we need to look at money as energy, right? So let's just write energy. What is energy? That's energy, right? That was a vibration that boom, it just created the sound, the motion, the potential energy in my hand, which is high up here. When it hit the ground, it turned into kinesthetic energy, and then it made a sound and it vibrated, and you heard it through the microphone recording the sound and the vibration, right? So money isn't any different. Money is the same thing. Like we mentioned, money and spirituality are told to be non-compatible with each other. But I want to invite you to think about all these major religions like Christianity, like Islam, like Buddhism. So Jesus, Muhammad, peace be upon all of these amazing figures, Buddha. So all these three people were either born into wealth or they brought wealth wherever they went, right? So money is indeed very much so connected to spirituality. So, and I want to change the way a lot of people think about this spirituality stuff. It's just a way of explaining the unseen. That's how I see it. We can't make rational depictions or descriptions about what we know of through things that we know. That's a hard way to... We cannot make sense of the reality around us. Therefore, we need to go to metaphysical stories that help us grasp the reality which is underneath. But what I'm telling you is, through this video, I hope it will go through, is that this energy is unseen. So this money that we're talking about is this unseen building block, unseen oxygen of the reality around us. And it is very, very much so deeply connected to emotions. Because if you think about it, all these religions are donation-based companies. Yeah. All right. So going back to this energy idea, right? So we have this wave, and this is a particle, but our eyes look at this particle and solidify it into matter. So only through an observer that these waves will turn into something tangible, right? So money, therefore, is viewed as a form of energy deeply connected to emotions. The way you feel about money, if it's a positive way, it's like, oh yes, I can spend anything and anywhere, and it'll come back to me. Or it's like, no, it's never enough. I don't have enough money. I can't do that. I can't. So this directly affects the flow of money in your life, right? So if you're always like, oh, I can't get enough. What am I gonna do with rent? No. It's like generational. Your parents raised you that way. Their parents raised them that way. Their parents raised them that way. So they're just like worrying about the simplest stuff, when other people in society who have a different attitude with money are experiencing incredible wealth and abundance. So this concept, I think, applies to everyone regardless of their financial status and their understanding of the energy that we call money. But understanding this, like truly, really thinking about how this stuff is not just, give and take. It's deeper than that. It's more about your attitude when it comes to this, will definitely change your mind. So I'll just recap what we just talked about. Money's energy and energy is spiritual. Your emotions towards money affect its flow in your life. And transcending these financial struggles is necessary to reach higher levels of thinking about thinking. And mastering the energy of money can lead to financial abundance and your growth as a human being, as a partner, as a wife, as a daughter, as a husband, as a brother, as anyone, every strata of society. All right, so that's the first part. Moving on. Now we are getting to the juicy part. All right. So, let's round this all up with this little 4x4 thing that we got here. Okay, let's bring it back. How do we create this area in which we can sustain our energy in a way that's always abundant? We know the common advice about money. Save more, spend less, and invest wisely, right? So these are generally the invest wisely. Generally, these are the advice that a lot of people give to each other about money. But I think it's a little bit more than just cutting back on coffee or investing in index funds. I think it's understanding the difference between wealth and income. I think the difference between wealth and income is this is what you earn, and this is what you keep. Okay? So the first step is not to just make enough money, not to earn enough money. It's more about learning how to save and keep that money more wisely. So the more you save, the more you earn, you can funnel that into the more you keep, and the more you keep will grow over time as the stocks that you invest in, or ideas and businesses that you invest in grow in value over time. So wealth is about ownership of assets that will create wealth for you. So it could be stocks, it could be real estate, it could be your own business or other people's business. The key is to focus on acquiring assets that appreciate over time and eventually replace your earned income with passive income, right? So once you've established the solid foundation, the next step is to multiply your wealth through leverage. So give me a big enough stick and I will move the world. Some person you agree with said this quote. Leverage is about using other people's money, time, and resources to grow your own wealth, right? So you're going to use leverage. Take real estate, for example. You're going to buy a property with a mortgage using a small amount of money as down payment, right? So this is your down payment. And borrowing the rest, right? So like 20% you down pay and then 80% you borrow from the bank, whatever, and you buy the house that you've always dreamed of, right? So I'm gonna get a little chimney over there so that little kids can go and clean. Anyway, so you bought this real estate by borrowing some of the money and then putting down a little bit of the money. So as the property appreciates and your tenants pay down the mortgage, your equity in the property grows. So this is the power of leverage at work. It also applies to time and effort by building systems and processes. You create multiple efforts that create exponential growth, right? So that means using AI, hiring a really skilled worker, having a better way of managing tasks is also another form of leverage. Let's write leverage over here. So technology, like I mentioned, managing your tasks better will allow you to achieve more with less effort. But this is a double-edged sword. It can amplify your gains, but it can amplify losses. So be careful with leverage. I have friends of my dad who risked their kids' school money and then lost everything and then killed themselves. Well, killed their family first and then themselves later. So be careful with this. Number 3, the importance of reputation and branding. So this is kind of the most valuable asset that you have. Because in today's world, your personal brand can be as important as your company's brand. People do business with people that they know and they like and they trust, right? So I know you, I trust you, I like you means money. Because it's long-term business, right? Do you want to only sell these pens for 5 years of your life and then shift into freaking hair care products or whatever? It really branding is the way you do business forever in your life, by establishing knowledge and trust and favor from people that you want to work with. That's the only way that you will have sustained sort of business. When people see your brand, they should immediately associate it with value. Whether it's entertainment, whether it's comedy, whether it's knowledge, whether it's anything, whatever you do, your brand, when people see your brand, it should be associated with value. And this association doesn't really happen overnight. It takes time and it takes consistent effort. I've been doing this podcast for 9 months. I'm not giving 100%, but that's what I get, right? Like you get what you give. And that's my experience. But consider brands like Louis V, right? I'm not a component of fancy brands. I think it's just like signaling some sort of status to other people, but they associate their products with celebrities and high status people. So this makes their customers feel like they're a part of an exclusive club, and everyone loves the exclusivity, right? The VIPs, backstage access, all that. The same principles apply to any brand, whether it's a luxury handbag or a business service or an Instagram page that you collect art. People buy based on the value that they perceive, and the value is often tied to your reputation. So Louis V means reputation. But also one needs to be careful with, just like with leverage, one bad decision can ruin years of goodwill. Brands drop celebrities who make mistakes, like Kanye with Adidas deal, right? Because they don't want to be associated with this negative behavior. The same goes for your personal brand. So you have to protect it at all costs. The last part, we're getting into compounding. I think compounding is the most powerful force in the universe. I think Einstein said that. It's a process where your money grows exponentially over time as it earns interest on both the principal and the accumulated interest. So it's not just gaining money from where you put it, but it's also gaining money through accumulated interest. So the longer your money you let your money compound, the more it grows. So you will have like programs in banks where you can keep your money for 30 days and you'll get X percent of return. If you keep it for 3 months, you'll get a higher percentage. If you keep it for 1 year, you'll even get a higher percentage. If you keep it for 5 years, you'll even get a higher percentage, right? So the longer you're patient, the bigger the reward is. And the same principle applies to your efforts and your business life. The value you create today can compound over time, leading to exponential growth. But this only works if you have a long-term perspective and don't interrupt compounding processes. So patience is key. The wealthiest people in the world understand they don't get rich overnight. They build their wealth over decades, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, over time, right? And it's not just about accumulating money. It's about enjoying the journey. Enjoy the process. Yes. It's about enjoying the business, the relationships, the health that is around completing the process, right? It's about staying in the game. The goal is to keep growing and improving over time, sharing whatever you learn along the way with people in hopes that they will help other people to help grow. At the end of the day, the point of the game is to play the game. Wealth, success, happiness are not destinations, they're just processes. And the best way to enjoy your wealth is to find purpose in what you do. This is key. And another thing I will add is to be thankful. So, remember, protect your reputation, leverage your resources, let your efforts compound, and keep playing the infinite game. This is how you get rich and stay rich without losing sight of what really matters. Thanks for watching, everybody. See you on the next one.